Welcome, folks, to the Cleveland Museum of Natural History and our new online phenomenon known as Science in the News. Once again, the program we actually hope will go viral. My name is Lee Gamble. I'm in charge of all kinds of video conferencing content here at the museum, and I'm once again joined by the one and only
Dr. Nicole Burt, and I am the curator of human health and evolutionary medicine here at the museum.
In case you joined us during our first episode, it was kind of an introduction to the worldwide phenomenon that we are going through right now. And I think at this point I have to ask Dr. Burt a very important question. Is it time to panic?
It's not time to panic. We are being prepared, and we are doing a lot of intense social distancing right now, particularly here in Ohio, where we're really pushing forward with that initiative. And the idea is to limit physical contact so that we are not spreading the virus from person to person, which is the way that most viruses spread and why we're getting exponential curves.
Gotcha. I've heard two different phrases kind of floating around out there in the media these days. One is social distancing, but I've also heard the phrase physical distancing, which we're trying to very obviously demonstrate here. But those could be sort of synonymous, but maybe not in this case?
Right. I think what that's trying to get across is while we need to not touch each other, you should be 3 feet or more away from people, 6 feet away from people in public, try not to touch things, all that, great, wash your hands, all of that. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be talking to your friends and family and people you love. We are social animals, so we need to take care of our mental health. So whether that's calling people on the phone or Skyping them or whatever you need to do, you should be taking care of your mental health as well and not just scrolling through, whatever you scroll through endlessly. Interact with people.
You're divisive, please. And speaking of this distancing, right now, one of the newest health functions that I've seen going on is that they've got these drive-through testing centers, which is amazing that we can set that up so fast. Good job, Ohio. And I'm thinking of visualizing people sitting in their car, having a conversation in the car while you're waiting to get tested. And then all of a sudden, if we have a whole bunch of people get tested all at the same time, that's also a concern, right? Because we don't want millions of people all flooding into the hospital at the same time.
Right. You've probably heard about flattening the curve, right? And I think we have a graphic for that as well. But if one of the big fears isn't necessarily that everyone's going to die from this, but the idea is that we could really overwhelm our health care system and the healthcare workers just because everyone's going in at once. Because people are still going to get other sicknesses. People still have chronic diseases. There's a lot that our healthcare system has to do. It is
still pretty much the flu season, right?
Yeah, it's still flu season, right? So the social distancing, the isolating yourself if you have any sorts of cough, fever, etc., is really important. And then, call ahead before you go in to make sure you're not just contributing to the amount of bodies in those spaces. Because that's also a place where we want to drop people being at, if at all possible. And so I think you can see really well in the graphic that instead of having this overwhelming peak, we're just spreading it out over time, right? So that we can, hopefully stay on top of our response.
And by allowing ourselves to spread out our distance in, distance in time, the timing of us coming into a medical facility, we're not building time to make the virus worse, are we?
No.
It's still the same virus. It would just be affecting if people in a slower process. Okay, so we're just not overloading our system, which makes total sense. Awesome. Now, on that graphic, there's a little guy who's kind of casually going, whatever, it's just like the flu and stuff. And we actually have a program that we do here at the museum that involves getting that idea of epidemiology across to kids. Would now be a good time to...
Let's do it. Let's show them.
to demonstrate this? Okay. Well, first of all, folks, in case you want to replicate our dynamite demonstration that we came up with here, there is now see, you guys have to watch me because I love to mess with my glasses, and that counts as touching your face. You're allowed to be like, count how many times. Send messages into Facebook, Instagram. However you're watching this, tell me how many times I mess with my glasses because I'm trying so hard to break my habit of that. Here's a word. Learn to spell that, gang. Phenolphthalein. This is a chemical that we use in the lab that is reactive to a base. And a base, the chemical, causes this stuff to go from clear to pink. And when we do this simulation in the lab, what we're doing is we're using borax, a very common laundry additive, in the water to make this stuff turn pink immediately, and we use it as our testing of the little simulated humans. You could also use regular baking soda, but we've discovered that borax makes the reaction go much more dramatically very fast. So tech guy Matt Crow, are we switching over to video?
So we're going to show you two cases of transfer. So one with some good social distancing happening and one person disregarding it, and then what happens if we're in huge groups. So just so that people are
Gotcha.
prepared.
It's the good.
The good.
Round one, the good.
Here we go.
Let's cut to the video, Matt. I like that intro. Good job, Matt. Good job. All right, so there's the borax and water, which is going into the tiny cup. And I'm going to watch which cup, the one on the left that I'm pointing at.
Yeah, so that's our guy who had symptoms and decided not to stay home and instead go out with other people who are just getting their emergency supplies.
Aha, and perhaps those two characters right there, those little people, the cups are representing the body fluids of our individuals there. And they're in the same car, perhaps sharing a conversation and perhaps having a little bit of coughing going on. So now they've exchanged
Touching
some
their face.
body fluids. And here they come into some location. Now we have dinosaurs up there because, hey, we're at a museum, but this could be your grocery store, right,
Yeah.
Dr. Burt? Or any other location where most of the people are practicing good social distancing. Notice that the passenger in the car is very carefully making their way around the whole area and not coming too terribly close to anybody else.
So even though the passenger was exposed, they didn't expose anyone else because they didn't get close to anyone and they didn't touch things. Whereas the driver, still not caring, went around and touched a few more people.
All right, moment of truth here, folks. Here comes the phenolphthalein representing symptoms that are coming on board. And here is our first character, patient 0, having symptoms. His passenger in the car, but look at this. All the folks who were in that public area who were practicing good
Social distancing.
Yeah, distancing. Look at that. Only one individual who was approached by the original guy was infected. High tech. Are we rolling right into the second one?
It's up to you.
What do you think there, tech guy Matt?
Tech guy is ready. Tech guy is ready.
Do it. Okay. So here comes video number 2. There they are. Here's our crowd. Oops, hold on. We're rewinding. Wouldn't it be nice if you could do that in real life, folks, and just rewind?
Take a second take.
Yeah.
Second take and not touch your face.
All right, here we go. So now we're at our physical distancing fail mode. And we have our little characters coming on a scene. One of them who is currently experiencing some symptoms,
So there's a big group of people. We'll say that's over 100. And that person has some symptoms and has decided to go to the party anyways. So they're raving away.
There they go. And as they are raving away, they are, as you can see, interacting with lots and lots of other people at a very close distance, handshaking, high-fiving, maybe sharing some doorknobs, all these different things we're told to keep an eye on.
So you should have seen some people get whisked away as
I
well.
noticed
So
a couple of them took off.
They saw people clumping together and went, "I'm out," and they left.
Smart. And now we're testing. And as our phenolphthalein works its way through the crowd, whoa.
That's a lot of people.
I can see a lot of individuals became exposed there because they just simply hadn't really fully embraced this idea of, hey, 3 feet's not too bad, 6 feet's not too bad. I can do this for a while,
Right.
Boom.
And what you maybe couldn't tell completely in our little pictures of cute people is that they were representing different types of people with different risk factors. So most people will have mild cases. But if you're, say, elderly or at high risk because you have other sort of respiratory ailments or things like this, you could get really serious complications, which is what we're trying to reduce so that people are not dying needlessly from those complications from the virus, even though most people would probably pass it.
I'm glad you mentioned about the lack of symptoms, too, because if you close a school, we know that children, for the most part, are not showing symptoms. They're asymptomatic. There's your other fun terminology for the day, folks. But if they are going out to, say, our little simulated rave and then, interacting with lots and lots of other people in that area of differing ages, you're just increasing the chances of exposure for everyone.
Right, exactly, which is why you should really try to be doing only kind of essential travel movement that you need to do unless you're completely away from other people and touching. Like if you want to hang out in your backyard with your dog, absolutely. But, just try not to interact with people you don't have to or don't already live with.
Dr. Burt, should all the folks out there who are watching this broadcast and saying, man, those folks at the museum know what they're doing, they should thoroughly blanket us with all the phone calls, right? Come straight to
No,
us.
they shouldn't. So there's great resources out there. So if you're in Ohio, the Ohio Department of Health has really great resources on their website, including a phone number that you can call into to get more information. The CDC has great information. Their website is very user-friendly. So even if you're not a scientist or a health worker, they know that you're coming to them for resources, and it's geared towards you.
I want a reality check here, though, because I know for me, I think to myself, well, if I do this for, like a week, right? A couple of days, should be fine. I'm out the door and heading to the local rave, right? Don't tell my boss I said that. So are we going to see, like, hey, everybody's doing this for a couple of days, woohoo, an immediate drop in the numbers of people testing positive for
No,
COVID-19?
so there's two things. One, we're probably going to be in this for longer than anyone feels comfortable with. Again, we're social animals, so it's going to be a change, and so we're going to have to do that for the public health good that it causes. So we're just get used to that. And two, because we're testing now at a much higher rate, and we're already been exposed, we're going to see numbers go up for a little while, even with the kind of physical distancing we're doing in place, because some people are still in their incubation period. So they've already been exposed,
right.
so we're still going to have those cases. So it's going to be a little while before we get a drop off with that. And additionally, like I said, we're just testing more and more. So we're going to start seeing really how many people have it. So we're going to start seeing that.
Is that a reality in other pieces of world history? Is that sometimes it just takes time to really find those numbers and crunch them properly and see the real picture of what's going on?
Yeah, we're going to take time to get the real numbers. And so we're just going to have to be patient with our public health officials and the ability to do that. And up on the screen, I think you do have the basics again, reminding you to take precautions, wash your hands at least 20 seconds, get those fingertips, cover your mouth if you have to cough. And then even more so than that, try to stay away from people so you're not coughing directly on them or on their things. And it's really important that we all do that and stay home if you have any signs of illness. Again, this is also flu season. This will also help drop our flu numbers as well. So that's what you need to do. And the phone number is there for getting more information.
You know, this all sounds more and more like all the things I am constantly telling my little nephews is, guys, cover your mouth the right way. You know, it feels like this is just excellent practice for the next virus or bacterial something that comes along, because these are all logical practices that we know work.
Yeah, these are all proven practices. We need to keep them up. I know it's hard to change everything about your life, but hopefully people will start it's just second nature. We're just going to start doing it. So I think I mentioned this in the last broadcast as well, but infections are something that have driven human evolution a lot over time, and they're going to continue to affect us in big ways. So we just need to really keep up and maintain these practices going forward in the future.
I find it a source of pride because, you might not be thrilled about the idea of physical distancing and having to deal with figuring out what am I going to do with my kiddos if they're home from school and us adjusting whatever we're doing at work. But the reality is the state of Ohio, our numbers are still pretty low.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of good things, man. So let's make this a competition, Ohio. Let's do this. We're going to be the best physical distancers there is everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make it a competition. Who can stay away from the most people and have the most fun working and learning from home?
I'm ready. This is what I'm recommending, is just carrying your own little yardstick with you, a little tape measure, being like, okay, let's chat.
Absolutely. Can we go out on some great rave music?
Oh, man. Yes. I don't know. Poor tech guy Matt's over there like, hold on, man. A rave right now? Well, thank you so much for joining us, folks, for another episode of Science in the News. Thank you, Dr. Bird, for joining us here at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. And, folks, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay distant out there.
Bye, guys.
I just coined that phrase. You like that? Are we are you going to give us one of these? Are we out? No, there's...